Hi, I'm Stock Investor Davis. Welcome to the channel. The plan is to catch up on news relating to CRISPR since our last check-in. This will include highlights from its second and third quarter earnings. Then we'll wrap up with a technical analysis of the stock price today. If you want to add a thought or ask a question, let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe. As we go through this information, please be mindful of the dates. Otherwise, to start off, we have some good news. U.S. Watchdog, an influential U.S. drug pricing watchdog, raised the price estimate of two experimental gene therapies, one of which is the CRISPR and Vertex deal of their sickle cell disease. They raised the price to about $2.1 million. The previous estimate back in April was $1.9 million. The higher estimated pricing reflects the ICER's assumption of more pain attacks per patient. Originally in April, they assumed 4 attacks per patient in a year, compared to their now finalized report, which showed 5.1. Shortly after, the company released their second quarter earnings for 2023. We can see their earnings divided into 4 sectors. I'm going to call it. We have the hemoglobinopathies, we have immune oncology, regenerative medicine, and then in vivo. In terms of the hemoglobinopathies, the big news here is the FDA has granted priority review for the SCD and standard review for TDT, that is the sickle cell disease and the beta thalassemia, and assigned prescription drug user fee act target action dates of December 8th, which is coming up, and March 30th of 2024. In terms of the immune oncology, we can see that they're just continuing to enroll and dose patients. With the regenerative medicine, the key highlight that I saw was in connection with the agreements with Vertex and ViaCyte. CRISPR received a $100 million upfront from Vertex and will be eligible for an additional $230 million in research and development milestones. They even hit one of those milestones, earning themselves an additional $70 million this quarter. And then lastly, the in vivo segment, they're continuing to build its platform and programs. Then in terms of the numbers, we can see the cash and accounts receivable. That actually decreased by about $25 million, driven by operating expenses. That said, it's not highlighted, but we can see they still have about $1.8 billion in short-term cash or short-term investments. So they're very comfortable, I'll say, in terms of cash. Revenue, we mentioned this earlier, they received that $70 million in collaboration with Vertex. They hit a milestone. Research and development expenses, they actually pulled it back from $123 million to now $101 million. This is this quarter compared to the same quarter last year, stating that the decrease is due to a reduced variable external research and manufacturing costs. Also, with the general and administrative expenses, we see a similar decrease going from $26 million in the same quarter last year to now $19 million, again driven by a decrease in external professional costs. We have collaboration expense. The increase in collaboration expense was primarily driven by an increase in manufacturing and pre-commercial costs associated with exa-cel program, which is that sickle cell disease treatment. And then to wrap up, the net loss came in at around $77 million for this second quarter when compared to last quarter, second quarter 2022, it was $185 million loss. So we're seeing that level out. Next, we note some changes within its leadership. Probably most importantly, their co-founder, Roger Novak, he is stepping down as president and chairman effective September 15th. So this is kind of old news at this point. And Samarth Kulkarni is going to succeed him as the chairman and will continue serving as the CEO of the company. They also added a board of director member. It's really actually an appointment at this time, but Sandy Mahatme is going to be most likely added to the board of directors at the company during its next annual general meeting to be held in 2024. This person currently serves as president, COO, and CFO of National Resilience Inc. He's held positions at Sarepta Therapeutics, Celgene Corporation, and Idorsia Pharmaceuticals. Not too familiar with any of those. If you are, let me know in the comments. But otherwise, he's held key roles in those different companies, so I assume he's going to be pretty valuable in terms of his knowledge here going forward. Pivoting back to the storyline related to the US FDA and CRISPR's exa-cel, the US Food and Drug Administration's staff reviewers on Friday, and again, be mindful of the dates here, asked the regulators to consider the need for additional studies for Vertex and CRISPR's sickle cell gene therapy, exa-cel. The FDA reviewer said this type of gene editing raises concerns about off-target, unintended genomic alterations, which can potentially cause other side effects. Also stating the small genetic sample size used in the therapy's lab analysis may not be sufficient for safety assessment, as that did not capture the diversity of the entire US population for sickle cell disease. RBC analyst Luca Isi stated that FDA's concerns appeared benign and expects additional studies only after the therapy is approved. If approved, the therapy will potentially offer patients a one-time treatment option versus frequent blood transfusion or once-daily drugs such as Pfizer's Oxabrita. An independent panel is set to meet on Tuesday to discuss the off-target analysis and if additional lab studies are needed, and then ultimately the FDA will decide on the therapy's use in patients ages 12 and older by December 8th of this year. A few days later, the FDA panel met with Vertex and CRISPR, leading to CRISPR halting trading for a period. The panel discussion led to the following. They could assess potential safety risks of their sickle cell disease gene therapy after approval. So if the therapy is approved, Vertex has proposed a 15-year follow-up of patients to evaluate the safety outcomes of the therapy. The US FDA raised concerns again about that off-target or unintended genomic alterations, aka side effects, but did not raise any concerns about the therapy's efficacy. Shortly after, its third quarter earnings were released for 2023. Similar to its second quarter, we see a quick summary of its four segments. We have the hemoglobinopathies. Again, not much has changed. They're still waiting on the target action dates for potential approval of the sickle cell disease or the beta thalassemia for December 8th and March 30th, 2024, respectively. Immune oncology continues to enroll and dose patients. Regenerative medicine, they continue to collaborate with ViaCyte. And then in vivo, they're continuing to build its platform and programs. With the addition of, they actually received a new grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I didn't see how much that's for, but seems like good news here too. Looking to the number aspect, there are two highlights I want to point out as we follow this company. The first, within the financial overview, we have it clearly states we have a history of recurring losses and expect to continue to incur losses for the foreseeable future. Our net losses may fluctuate significantly from quarter to quarter and year to year. We anticipate that our expenses will increase significantly as we continue our current research programs and development activities. Then within the revenue recognition section, we note that the company has not generated any revenue to date from product sales and do not expect to do so in the near future. Otherwise, in terms of the numbers, when looking at the third quarter compared to the previous quarter of 2023, not much has changed. I just wanted to point out these two notes. Next, another great piece of news for the company. The United Kingdom authorized a gene therapy that aims to cure sickle cell disease and another type of inherited blood disorder for patients, and that is Casgevy. This is the first medicine to be licensed that uses that gene editing tool by CRISPR. Clinical trials of Casgevy has been found to restore healthy hemoglobin production in the majority of patients with sickle cell disease and transfusion-dependent beta thalassemia. Then our last piece of news before switching to the technical analysis, they announced updates of its immune oncology pipeline and expansion into autoimmune disease. So a quick summary here, based on the preliminary data from ongoing clinical trials focusing on next generation CAR-T product candidates, they are expanding trials in its CTX112 and expanding trials in its CTX131. The 112 is for autoimmune disease, and the CTX131 is a hematologic malignancies. As we wrap up with the technical analysis, I pointed out the two big pops that we've seen in recent past. The first one being that initial meeting review with the US FDA, which went fairly well, and then the UK's approval of exa-cel, both leading to massive moves in this stock just within like the past month. Right now, the price is around a resistance point of about $71. Therefore, I don't like the price for that reason. That said, if we get approval on December 8th, I could easily see this one accelerating up to that next resistance point of 85, possibly beyond. If it gets declined, I could easily see a pullback to $52. Otherwise, I'm just hoping if you pick this one up at $52, then great. Otherwise, I personally just don't like the price right now. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.